شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Amma ba'd, brothers in Islam, brothers in Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's another day we met, alhamdulillah, for this opportunity, good healthy moment, where we meet again to discuss, or we meet again to give a lecture on very important issues concerning humanity and the universe at large. For the past 10 or more days, we've been elaborating on issues pertaining to globalization and its effect on society from an Islamic perspective. We've deliberated on issues that we assume are important. We've quoted from articles and books that matter when we talk about these issues on globalization and its effect on society. After brainstorming, I thought to do one of the two tonight. Either keep the session as a discussion session, a question and answer session, or a revision session. A revision in the sense that I requested my brothers at the Noor Center to allow me make good use of the screen behind me so as to show the evidence that would convince the listeners that what we talked about was true because of the authentic evidence that we would have a chance to look at and some listen to. I think the first thing is we talked about the Yogyakarta principles. Now here are the Yogyakarta principles. Yogyakarta principles are principles, as I said, were discussed 2006, published in 2007, and these are the official principles on human rights issues. As the slide shows, the English version is the authoritative text. Official translations are available in Arabic, Chinese, French, Russian, and Spanish, March 2007. What are the Yogyakarta principles? They say these are principles on the application of international human rights law in relation to sexual orientation and gender identity. Now remember, I talked about the introduction to these principles, which I would like us to look at. Here is the introduction to the Yogyakarta principles. When I was discussing this issue, I touched upon the first paragraph of the introduction, where they say, and I quote again, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. All human rights are universal, interdependent, indivisible, and interrelated. Sexual orientation and gender identity are integral to every person's dignity and humanity and must not be the basis for discrimination or abuse. But then when they note sexual orientation and put number 1, gender identity they put number 2, we have to go to reference. Whereas at the bottom of the page, that's where they put the reference, where you'll be able to know the true translation on sexual orientation is understood to refer to each person's capacity for profound emotional, affectional, and sexual attraction to an intimate and sexual relation with individuals of a different gender or the same gender or more than one gender. So when it appears in any constitution that you cannot discriminate any person because of sex, they mean sexual orientation. And because of gender, they mean gender identity. So what is gender identity? Gender identity is understood to refer to each person's deeply felt internal and individual experience of gender, which may or may not correspond with the sex assigned at birth, including the personal sense of the body, in brackets, which may involve, if freely chosen, modification of bodily appearance or functions by medical, surgical, or other means, and other expressions of gender, including dress, speech, and mannerism. Are we together? So these are principles of human rights, international law. I've been urging all of you who listen to me, whether live during the lectures or whether when you see the videos, that this is a serious issue. And we cannot just ignore if you really know the basis, if you really know where this thought is coming from. Now, these are principles. Now check how many principles are in this article. 29 principles. The right to the universal enjoyment of human rights, right to equality and discrimination. But the catchy issue here is when you go to these principles, look at what they write. Now this is principle number 1. The right to the universal enjoyment of human rights. Right? All human beings are born free, like the introduction, and equal in dignity and rights. Human beings of all sexual orientations and gender identities are entitled to the full enjoyment of all human rights. Then look at the statement. States shall embody the principles of the universality, interrelatedness, interdependence, and indivisibility of all human rights in their national constitutions or other appropriate legislation, and ensure the practical realization of the universal enjoyment of all human rights. Amend any legislation, including criminal law, to ensure its consistency with the universal enjoyment of all human rights. Undertake programs of education and awareness to promote and enhance the full enjoyment of all human rights by all persons, irrespective of sexual orientation or gender identity. Now, every statement starts with state shall, and these are 29 principles. That's why I was urging you that please come forward, or let me give to Noor Center or someone else, so that when you need these things, you can be able to get access to them. Maybe sometimes you don't know where to get them on the internet. So let's have an, what do you call this, USB disk or flash, or an external hard drive where I can give all this, so that you can sort of give to others too and make other people aware of this issue coming forward. Every statement goes with state shall ensure that all persons are accorded legal capacity and all this. Now this is 2006, 2007. How many years ago? And then it was propagated underground. Now that is Yogyakarta principle. Many books you can see. Look at this book. These are not books you get in bookshops. Let's check which year was this printed. You see the year that it was printed? 1887. Then one day I talked to you about transgender when we were talking about LGBTQ. Now, please follow this up. She was like what you see on your left side, and she is what you see on the right side. Right? On the left was before, on the right is after. That's transgender now. The left was before, the right is after. The left was before, right is after. Left was before, right is after. That is, they were ladies, now they are men. That's transgender. Now, these things are coming towards us in the name of human rights. So you are not supposed to go into this and stop these people from being what they feel like being. He was like what he was on the left, now he's a woman. This is what she was on the left, now she's a man with beards. And these are celebrities. These are not normal people, they are celebrities. Actors, actresses, Hollywood. This is what she was like, and the right after is what she looks like now, like a man. This is the greatest of all. They even use her as a symbol. This is how he was like as a male, and now he is a woman and a celebrity on TV programs. These are celebrities who use hormone disruptors to suppress their original hormones for them to get to the other stage of transgender. That's why I said, and I keep on saying, this is not just something that you can just ignore. No. You have to be present. You have to be conscious. I told you about lipsticks and all that. Now let me show you what this is all about.
From the clothes we wear to the cars we drive. From what we use to look good to what we use to relax. Our lives are full of products. And our products are full of animals. Could knowing that so many of our favourite items contain animals change the way we feel about them forever? Tonight, it's the pig.
Oh, you see the blood. Look at the skill. Oh my gosh. Mine's got scissors and cut.
Minutes, the pig and his skin have parted company, and the skin is ready to go off to the tanning factory. Luxurious leather.
Eating the pigs, and for the rest of the pieces we are getting the leather, and after that you can buy fancy goods like shoes, bags, fancy leathers and stuff like that. Here we have got the fatting machines. We have to take the fat out from the skin and the fat coming out from the other side, so we can take a look.
There it is. So what do you do with this fat?
We are selling that fat, and after that, the other companies producing the hand soap, eyeliner mascara,
What?
for a creams and for a head and for a hand soap straight
put that
from
in
here.
mascara?
Yes.
Creams, soaps, mascaras, makeup, cosmetics. You know that lots of cosmetics contain animal fat.
Yeah.
Well, that's animal fat.
It's really disturbing.
As surprising as it may be to Sade and Prince, animal fats are still used in lots of products we use every day, from makeup to hand wash and even soap.
He's going to get the pig now and he's going to put it into this pig tank, which will remove the hair. The tank's set at a temperature of about 66 degrees, so it doesn't actually cook the pig, but what it does, it loosens the hair. And
The hot water also cleans the pig's skin and removes contamination.
Oh, look at that!
what a difference.
I'm going to follow the hair onto the next stage of its journey into a hairbrush, as hard as that is to imagine right now.
We can turn this wild boar bristle into a finished hairbrush.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Done a poultry offering. This is rare breed boar bristle. But I
Not that much, is there?
no,
really?
it's not that much. It doesn't really. I mean, looking here, you've got an awful lot of bristles, haven't you?
I know.
Where are all these from?
All the bristle comes from either China or India.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating journey. So here it is, one of the most common everyday products in the world. But how many people actually think about how it's made and what it's made of? I mean, do you consider that every day you're running pig hair through your own hair?
Together. So I didn't lie to you. Now let's go to what movies are all about. Here we go. For those of you who love movies,
I don't believe people make movies just to entertain. Wise people make movies to move people in certain directions. In 1970, after the Congress of African People, when the minister spoke and was given words to say by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and those words caused me to be interviewed by the great brother Tony Brown on his wonderful show. And I was in Jamaica getting some rest after 15 years of work, 7 days a week. And Elijah Muhammad sent me to Jamaica to get some sunshine and rest. And while I was there, next to the Holiday Inn where I stayed was a beautiful resort called the Half Moon. And one of the great black actors of the 20th century, our brother, oh boy, a senior moment, Brock Peters, was making a movie in Jamaica called Lost in the Stars. And he told me when we met and had a wonderful exchange, he said the producer of the film said he would like to meet you. And he took me to the set where the movie was being made. And at a break, the producer came out to meet me, or director. He was a Jewish man, and he said these words to me. He said, Farrakhan, you seem like a nice person. It's not you that we fear. It is your ideas. And then he said, there's a group of us that meet either on Fifth Avenue in New York or in Los Angeles, and we discuss trends. And if we see a trend that we disagree with, we utilize our skills, our talents, to begin to move the people in a direction that we feel is best. In that meeting that they have on Fifth Avenue in a penthouse or in California, he told me there are writers, script writers, book writers, artists, people that influence people. And once they decide on a trend, books will come out, movies will come out, plays will come out, writers in newspapers will write, because the Bible refers to the masses of the people as sheep. And one word of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we are easily led in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right. So Hollywood is not only entertainment, but it's shepherding or guiding or influencing behavior.
I don't believe... Are we together? Hollywood is influencing behavior. Now, do you see when I tell you that we need to institutionalize our lives? These guys have institutionalized their lives. So when they see someone trying to sway people from the trend they had established, they get worried and meet so that they come forward with a new trend that would disrupt the other one that sways people from their trend. Now, can we just be meeting like this, talking these things out, and then they just stay as they are? It's just a talk we had. If it is to that, I don't want to be part and parcel of that. If we are serious to go into action and try to sway our people back to the right path, then I want to be part of that. These are evidences of things I've already talked to you, I'm showing you now. It's not things that I just came up or my assumptions. No, this is the reality. This is what is facing us. You remember I mentioned to you about this thing? I know this one you thought too I was joking about weather warfare. Yeah? Now please check this. These were not written by me or my late father, Sheikh Abdillahi, or the Khoja Sheikh Nasser Jamaat. No. Look at where it's coming from. What does it say down here? Department of what? It's not newspaper report. And not everyone seems to be knowing about these things. People just see these things maybe when written in newspaper. But they don't know these are facts. Every satellite orbiting Earth and who owns it. How many satellites do you own? As a community, do you have even one? I can go on and on and on. You remember about Corona, COVID-19? What's this? So they took us for a ride. It's only serious thinkers and readers who find such things. Otherwise, we'd wait for local newspaper to talk about these things, which you'll never find. You see the subheading. This is a professor at Harvard University in physics. He was involved in this with two Chinese guys. One lady, one guy. This is not me, I didn't write this. This is official FBI report. I talked to you about endocrine disruptors, hormone disruptors. I don't make up these stories. I told you I have evidence. So how serious can we get? We need to have a conference for the local masses, interfaith conference, discuss these issues extensively, provide evidence of what we are saying, request government officials to attend, pass over the papers presented to the government officials. Give them time to digest and exhaust. Go do their own research whether this is authentic, true or not. Here's the dirty dozen. BPA, dioxin, and all these doctors are around, I think. Phthalates, it's plenty in babies' bottles for drinking milk. You remember, if you put black tea in a plastic cup, then you see what's coming, oily substance appearing on top of the black tea. That's phthalates. Now look at how many families use plastic ware during hot meals and drinks and all this. What are we drinking? Let me go deeper now. HI. There is something. You remember you mentioned Pinky Diary, these whiz kids about LGBTQ books that you banned in Tanzania. And I told you those are for nursery schools. This is the real side of it all. It's perfectly normal. Changing bodies, growing up, sex and sexual health. These are for kids, eh? These are textbooks. So be watchful what your kids are checking at home. Maybe she or he finds this book from a friend in school, she takes it home too. Now, let me go to this is a book, 292 pages, Bright Lines of Illuminati. Big oil and their bankers in the Persian Gulf. You'll never believe what's written in this book. Very respectful people. Their families were all agents of the multinational companies. Agenda 21 Center, Bioinitiative 2012, Rationale for Biologically Based Exposure, Standards for Low Intensity Electromagnetic Radiation. Remember this topic about 4G, 5G? Now this is a report from 2012. Look at all these intellectuals who wrote this report. This is one of the players. I mentioned to you Tavistock Institute, $6 billion budget. What is their job? Shaping the moral, spiritual, cultural, political and economic decline of the United States of America. This is a European think tank. Now, listening to what's going on now in the world, don't you see they succeeded? They finished America completely. Tavistock Institute. This book tells you the deeper side of who are Tavistock Institute. This is another very important book you should see and read. Behold the pale horse. Where it talks about technocracy, all this about artificial intelligence, transhumanism, how people would be changing scientifically. They chip human bodies, you know, for you to change and become like a cyborg. That's why I'm saying I very much understand the generational gap, but are you aware of what's coming? Has anyone talked to you about these things? And this is all over, all over. Elon Musk and all these guys are chipped in their brains, you know. They're like cyborgs. Bill Gates and all these guys, they're transhuman. Don't be surprised, I give you as an example, that one day you find someone, the whole refrigerator is full of papers. That's the food that they eat. They don't eat normal food anymore. You have to eat paper to sort of put in some data for you to go on. Now, this is why I said, let's do like a revision today, right? Let's do like a revision because this is where we're going. This is the Balfour letter, right? When they wrote this letter, just to give Rothschild that right to do whatever he would like to do in as far as the Zionist empire was concerned. Now, this is the Balfour letter from Lord Balfour to Lord Rothschild. Like now you can establish the Israel nation, or state if you like. November 2nd, 1917. So these are not things I'm just assuming, these are things that are there. Things that have been pre-planned. Look at this. When was this book published? And have you ever come across such a book? Royal Canadian Institute. What is it all about? Do you have such books in your libraries? What I would like to tell you is that I'm very much aware that most of the time when someone sits on this side, that's why you don't hear these things, because they don't read about this. And I'm sorry, I know I'd be sort of abusing other people's mentality, but most of them live in between the 7th and the 10th century. I'm not ashamed to say this. But this is the 21st century. This is where the world is now. Now we need to go back and read who are these people planning for the next generation. We can't just be living, sitting ignorant in our masjids and talking about the past only, while not comparing it or doing comparative studies about how can it affect us in this present time and the future. What will it do to us and the coming generations? Now we need to know about these things, but who's going to read these things to us? Look, goal 1 is to end poverty in all its forms everywhere. How? No one has told us. 2 is end hunger, achieve food. While they are doing weather warfare, they're telling us about ending hunger. That is, if you don't toe the line, then they use those tools that they do weather warfare with and keep you hungry. If you toe the line, then everything is going to be fine. There'd be agribusiness like no other place on earth. They did this to Mengistu Haile Mariam. And when he was removed from Ethiopia, everything is smooth now. Let me do this. Let me check for something that I would be. What is this? Wait, I'm still showing you. Protocols of the meetings of the learned elders of Zion. Now, this is not just a book, that true copy that's been scanned, and look where it's coming from. Hold on.
Welcome to another session of the International Crimes Investigative Committee. Today we will take a closer look at the United Nations, which many people are aware of, that they are supposed to become the one world government as proclaimed in the Great Reset. So what is the United Nations about, and who do we talk to? Well, our interview partner is a former high-ranking member of the United Nations, His name is Călin Georgescu. It is best to talk to someone who knows from personal experience what he's talking about, rather than to talk to someone who just has ideas about what is going on inside the United Nations.
Well, I serve this institution 17 years, almost 18. I started in Romania, in a United Nations Development Program, which gave to me the chance to understand, first of all, the system. I was director to coordinate the Romanian National Sustainable Development Strategy and Local Agenda 21, which I did for almost 40 counties in Romania. Then I arrived to different, let's say, events in New York and after that in Geneva, in many other countries, and I arrived also in the board for Europe in the United Nations Environmental Program. I had a chance to have many meetings, many interviews, and particularly to understand how is running this system. But I had the chance to arrive, let's say, to the key people to understand how can work this train. I was absolutely sure that United Nations is a fantastic institution which can help the people and the welfare and the human being, and to be a good life, to have a good life, and everything to be in harmony with the nature. Because this is my background, environmental protection. So based on my background, of course, I arrived to United Nations, and I arrived to be, let's say, call it a specialist in sustainable development.
I can give this to many of you. Like I promised you, I'd leave this with the Noor Center. I can give it to my brother, Mehboob Somji. Some of you, if you feel like you want to have copies, this and much more, so that you come to a level where you'd be able to discuss with someone from a knowledge point of view, not just an assumption point of view. My time is up. I would like to go deeper. That's why I said let's revise tonight what we've been talking for the past 10 or 11 days. Now, I had to prove to you that what I'm saying, I have authentic evidence to prove to you that this is the truth. Now, let's go to another level as from tonight and finish the next 5 days on a better key of understanding about what globalization is all about. Now, globalization is fronted by the United Nations, and I've just given you a tip of what the United Nations is all about, let alone what I told you about Rockefeller providing the land for them to build their headquarters. What evidence is there to prove that Rockefeller gave them that piece of land? Inshallah, in the next 5 days, we'd get to the point. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.